Hi, I'm Big D, and this is House of Samurai. Today, I'm going to talk about keeping your rig cool. I run a 1.6 liter turbo diesel. It creates a great amount of heat. Oh, especially wide open throttle. Take a look at the little beast. Little 1.6 liter turbo diesel. I run the largest VW radiator I could possibly fit in it. Is 26 inches tank to tank. It's 2-inch or two 10-inch spall fans. It's shrouded. It's sealed up the best I can to make it work. On wide open throttle on the street, I get about 60-65 miles an hour going down the highway. The water coming out of the top of the head at wide open throttle is about 230 degrees. So I had to come up with something that could get that water cool again as quickly as possible, and that's the best thing I did. The only other thing that you have to make sure you do, there's other fluids that also put heat in your engine. Your engine oil also creates a lot of heat. So I got a piece of aluminum, a block of aluminum from MasterCar, and I made an oil relocation kit of my kind of own design. I just took a piece of aluminum. I don't know if we can get a good picture of it in there. Move some stuff. And plumbed it in. I plumbed it from the engine. It goes straight back to an oil cooler in the back of the rig, and it comes back up through the filter and back into the engine and up to the turbo. I also keep my power steering, which is hydro assist off a Honda B pump. Oil comes out of that 1300 psi, so it's bouncing off a bypass when you're not using it. So there's only about a quart in that little tiny reservoir right there. So that gets recirculated quite often and quite quickly, so it heats up really, really quick. So in the back of the truck, the Samurai, I installed a dual core heat exchanger or radiator, and I put a 6-inch spall fan on it, put a shroud on it, wired it, and I ran aluminum tubing all the way to the back. So I have 4 aluminum pieces of tubing running to the back of the rig with a little small fan radiator. Take a crawler and take a look at that. Okay. Oh, you can see the 4 lines running right there. Coming back. They run back here, and there's the radiator. 2 lines running to the top of it, and then back here we can see the spall fan. And I made a little box shroud to make sure I keep all the air pulling across the radiator. So they run all the way back up for the motor. And here's my Wix filter, the biggest Wix filter I can possibly get. So crawl back up here. Okay. When using aluminum tubing and rubber hose and hose barbs, you always want to take a look here. Flare the fitting. So if you don't flare the fitting, the hydraulic pressure inside the hose is going to build up, and it's just going to squeeze it right off. So as you have pressure of the hose clamp on here, and the pressure builds up, it wants to blow the hose off. As the hose clamp hits the flare, it won't want to come off. It doesn't have to be a really large flare. It just has to be a small flare, so that hose clamp has something to grab when the pressure's trying to blow it off. I just have a small little Imperial tubing kit, but it comes with these little buttons right here to do brake lines. This little button right here, it folds the brake line inside of itself, so then you can flare it so they don't split, because you'll split steel lines every time you try flaring a brake line. So Nice little set. Works out. It's been really great for me. That's what I do for my engine cooling. Like I said, the largest VW, I think it came out of a Quattro or a Scirocco Turbo, something like that. And a nice fan shroud, 210-inch fans. And my coolant coming out of the motor at wide open throttle on the highway stays about 210, 220. So it's not doing bad. A lot better than it was 230, 240 and boiling over. So once I get out of the throttle and let it rest a little bit, it comes right back down. It'll run at 190 all day long. Crawling the trails, it runs 190 all day long. It only creeps up when you start getting the higher throttle. So that's how I did it. I'm Big D, and this is House of Samurai.